Good morning, everybody. I am so sorry that I have more days I do not upload video. I was been so busy. So, today inshallah, we have to know what pest and important tips of rice harvest, rice harvesting and post-harvest techniques. The act of harvesting rice, which entails removing the grains from the plant, is an essential stage of the growing process. Harvest timing has a significant impact on both the quantity and quality of the crop. It is typically harvested when the grains have reached their full size and maturity. When to harvest rice? For directly sown plants, the best time to harvest is between 110 and 120 days after sowing, DAS, while for transplanted plants, it is between 100 and 110 days after transplanting, DAT. Look for the following signs to see if a full-grown rice plant is ready to be picked. Proportion of mature grain per panicle. When 80% to 85% of the grains have turned yellow, it is time to harvest. For late maturing types, the best period to harvest is between 130 and 136 DAS. For medium duration varieties, it's between 113 and 125 days, and for early maturing cultivars, it's about 110 days since heading. Harvesting in the dry season is best done between 28 and 35 days after heading, while during the rainy season, it is best done between 32 and 38 days after heading. Water content. The optimal water level, wet basis, for grains is 20 to 25% just before harvest. As a rule of thumb, grains should feel solid yet not brittle when pressed between the teeth. Moreover, the crop must be harvested while the soil is fairly dry, because then it is much easier to pick the crop close to the ground. Through USDA crop monitoring, you can get accurate agrometeorological data about precipitation, air temperature, wind speed, and other growing conditions that can help you plan your harvest activities. If severe rainfall has occurred or is expected in the rice growing field, historical weather data and a 14-day weather forecast will let you adjust the upcoming harvesting work. Even if you have to manage a lot of fields all around the world, this is not an issue. Should there be a risk of bad weather at any of them, USDA crop monitoring will send you an email alert. Harvesting process and methods. There are several steps involved in harvesting rice, and these can be completed one at a time by hand or all at once with the use of a combined harvester. While harvesting manually with a sharp knife or sickle, it's critical to cut the stalk no more than 1 to 2 inches, 4 to 5 centimeters, above the ground. In this way, farm workers remove stem borer larvae that would otherwise be left in the stubble and might cause severe crop loss in the next rice growing season, even up to 100% in the case of the most destructive pest in Asia, strip stem borer. A combine harvester typically cuts the crop, delivers it to the threshing system, threshes, cleans, and then deposits it into a wagon. While harvesting, the combine leaves a windrow of straw in its wake. Post-harvest procedures. After the crop has been harvested, there are a few more steps to be taken. While using a combine harvester, all of these operations occur simultaneously. But, if you opt for manual collection, you'll have to do the following steps in order. Threshing, paddy grain separation from the remainder of the harvested crop. It should be done as soon as possible after harvesting to prevent grain re-wetting and minimize its breakage. Cleaning, getting rid of immature, empty, and non-grain matter. Before cleaning, dry the grains, if needed, and then clean them carefully to avoid damage. Hauling, transporting the harvest to the threshing floor. Field drying, having the harvested crop air dry in the paddy. Stacking, or piling, short-term storage of crops in stacks. Bagging, filling bags with threshed grain for storage and shipment. Field drying and stacking, two common post-harvest practices, are not advised due to the rapid crop quality decline and significant losses they can entail. Environmental impacts of growing rice and sustainable solutions to them. Now that we know how rice is grown and harvested, there is one more major concern. Is growing rice bad for the environment? To put it briefly, yes. Farmers have resorted to more agrochemical use and more intensive irrigation methods to keep up with the surging demand for grain. Let's look at the root reasons why there is such a negative eco-impact of growing rice. Water consumption. To grow normally, rice needs a lot of water because it is an exceptionally thirsty plant. In areas where water supplies are already low, this might cause a severe shortage. Emissions of greenhouse gases, GHGs. Due to the lack of oxygen, methane-producing microbes flourish in the paddies. Given that, growing rice is responsible for 12% of world methane emissions and 1.5% of total GHG emissions. This is why rice farming is one of the major contributors to climate change, along with GHG emissions due to deforestation. Applying agrochemicals. Pesticides are frequently used in crop growing to keep pests and diseases at bay. The excess of these chemicals may accumulate in the ground, endangering human health and wildlife not intended to be exposed to them. Loss of soil quality. Soil degradation is a potential long-term effect of growing rice. When water sits on the ground for a long time, the soil compacts, its fertility decreases, and even soil salinization may occur. Change in land use. Turning forested and wetland regions into paddies is linked to ecosystem decline, fragmentation, and loss of biodiversity. These land use changes threaten water control and carbon sequestration, two crucial ecological services. Generation and disposal of waste. The leftovers of rice processing, such as straw, hulls, and bran, can quickly amass. Mishandling this byproduct can increase pollution and greenhouse gas production. These environmental challenges call for innovative, sustainable rice growing approaches, both eco-responsible and economically viable for farmers. To help feed the world's expanding population, China, a major rice producer and consumer, is investigating new eco-friendly methods of growing the crop. International Rice Research Institute and Sustainable Rice Platform are just two of many international nonprofit organizations working to make crop production more resilient in service to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This strengthens our confidence in the long-term viability of rice growing and the pivotal role it will play in ensuring the world's food security. Thank you for watching. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe to get update video and support us. I hope to see you in next topic.